Hi, I'm Jeff Haynes with Tech Bargains, and today we're bringing you the video review of the Dell XPS 14z laptop. We reviewed the various systems in the XPS line, and they've frequently gotten high marks from us, primarily thanks to their performance. But whereas the other systems have made physical changes and improvements on prior versions by slimming down or changing around the look of the systems, the XPS 14z isn't as radical a change as we actually thought. Is this just a smaller copycat of the 15z, or are there some stealthy enhancements underneath the 14z's hood? The system that we received was powered by an Intel Core i5 2430M processor running at 2.4 GHz with 8 GB of DDR3 RAM. It was supported by an Nvidia GeForce GT 520M graphics card with Optimus technology, which helped display content on the 14.1-inch LED LCD screen with a native resolution of 1366 by 768. It also came with a 750 GB hard drive spinning at 7200 RPM, as well as a slot-loaded DVD burner. Other specs included a 720p HD webcam, Bluetooth 3.0, and full Wi-Fi support. Similar to the 15Z, the 14Z is a visually appealing machine. The laptop is sleek and striking thanks to the anodized aluminum chassis, as well as the chrome-lined perimeter of the case and the touchpad. Many of the nicer touches from the previous XPS systems, like the intricately patterned heat exhaust vent and speakers, as well as the chiclet-style backlit keyboard with a modern font, have been carried over to the XPS 14Z. As a result, on first glance, it seems like one of the larger systems has been shrunk into the frame of the 14Z itself. Weighing in at 4.3 pounds and measuring 0.9 inches at its thickest point, it's also one of the lightest systems in the XPS lineup. It's clear that Dell has been emulating Apple's MacBook Pro, and while it's not nearly as impressive visually as that system, it's still a gorgeous machine in its own right. The 14Z, like the other systems in the XPS line, tore through our tests without any problems, demonstrating that it had plenty of processing power. The system had no problems with multiple browsers open, multiple video files playing, or dealing with raw images in Photoshop. Processor-intensive applications typically ran without any issues, although they were clearly slower than the i7 quad-core XPS 15 and 17, which we expected. Luckily, we didn't experience any graphical artifacting issues with the 14Z, which is something that we did run into with some of the other XPS systems. As a gaming rig, the 14Z did rather well, pulling very playable and respectable frame rates in most of the games we played. While the screen did limit us to playing at 1366 by 768, we received much faster performance thanks to the lower resolution, letting us enjoy games like Batman Arkham Asylum, Devil May Cry 4, and others without any issues. Now, we were really struck by the improvement in the battery life, which Dell expanded with the inclusion of an 8-cell battery. We managed to squeeze out 3.5 hours on a full charge with the monitor set to 50% brightness, Wi-Fi and Bluetooth turned on, and medium to heavy usage. That was compared to the 2.5 hours of life from the 15Z, which is pretty notable, especially since the 8-cell battery is sealed inside the case of the system. That, combined with the fact that the display doesn't have the same power demands, means that the system provides good battery life. However, the most significant improvement we noticed was that the noise and the temperature issues we found within the 15Z were alleviated with the 14Z. No longer does the chassis of the system become extremely warm and uncomfortable on the underside, palm rest, and keyboard during prolonged use, nor does it become uncomfortably loud during these longer testing sessions. The same could be said for the fan, which only became slightly noisy during long game sessions, but not too loud that it became distracting. So what didn't we like about the XPS 14Z? Well, for one thing, we weren't impressed by the screen for the system, which had a maximum resolution, as we've said earlier, of 1366 by 768. For a 14-inch laptop, it's not a deal breaker, but considering that the 15Z is only 1 inch larger and packs a much larger resolution, it's disappointing. That's particularly true since some smaller systems that aren't as expensive as the 14Z have much more resolution than this particular laptop. Now, the brightness of the screen is rather good, and we rarely needed to turn it up to full brightness. The occasions we did allowed us to use it outside in full daylight without a problem. But the screen does pack a glossy nature that saturates colors and makes images vibrant while also enhancing the reflective nature of the display. Unfortunately, it has average viewing angles, which doesn't help it stand out from other systems, especially in the XPS family. We also questioned the usefulness of sealing the battery within the system. While we understand the decision helped Dell keep the laptop under 1 inch thick and that the company increased the battery life, we would have preferred the option to carry and insert a spare battery if necessary. Finally, we weren't thrilled that the XPS 14z doesn't allow users to upgrade the system for a Blu-ray drive, a stronger graphics card, quad-core processor, or better display. It's not necessary for some users, but gamers and users of graphically intensive programs would probably prefer the upgradable options. The Dell XPS 14z is a good, albeit minor, upgrade in the XPS franchise. It's lighter, thinner, quieter, and cooler than the previous system. It also has a longer battery life, and it runs comparably to the other one in performance. Unfortunately, the biggest problem with the XPS 14z is the screen, especially if you consider the fact that the next largest size up offers a full HD screen with improved viewing angles, and Dell doesn't offer any upgradable options for this particular model. Now, if you can overlook these issues, you'll find a system that will really suit your needs, which is why we decided to give the Dell XPS 14z a 4 out of 5. For the latest news, reviews, coupons, and deals, be sure to check out techbargains.com, follow us on Twitter @techbargains, or check out our Facebook page.